So what's going to be built here is our Family Resource Center, and this is sort of a dream and a wish that I've had since I became chief, to have a center for our families to gather together, our children, our youth. And I wanted it specifically in this area because of the history of this area. And it had the residential school, and we all know the history of that. As the elder just spoke about, there was a lot of suffering and abuse that our children, and these are our ancestors, our parents, our grandparents, had lived through that. And so I thought to have a place here where, as the elder also mentioned, to change that energy from it being the abuse, the negativity, and all the suffering that happened, which many of our generations have been impacted by that and continue to be impacted by that. And even in our own community, we see these things that are happening, and those can be related back to residential school era and all of the trauma that people that attended there, the survivors, endured during their time there. So this was one of the reasons we thought we'd want to have the center here, to have that, change that energy, and for this to be a place of healing and a place of hope for our community, for our youth, for our young children, and for the children to come still. And so for our families to have a place to come in and meet one another, hopefully learn from one another, have positive events, positive things to share together with one another. We want to have it a place for our elders to feel welcome to come in and visit with our families, to provide those teachings that they have. It seems, you know, it's been a tough year. We've had losses in our community. We've lost some of our elders and they've taken that knowledge with them. And thankfully, you know, some of them were able to share some of that knowledge before they passed. And so having this center here is going to be a place where they can come in and do that on a regular basis. It's going to be, hopefully, be like their second home, where they'll feel welcome to come in at any time, come in and have coffee with our staff, come in and have coffee with people that are going to drop in for different programs, for different services. And so we want to have all kinds of services here that are going to be helpful to our community, to deal with some of the traumas they're dealing with, get counseling services, get help if they're struggling with things at home. We don't want any of our children to be taken away from our community, so we want to offer supports and services, and really have services that are going to wrap around our children, our youth, and our families, and to provide them with that hope and a feeling that we're here to support them. And so those are the reasons we wanted to have our Family Resource Center, and this is why we also wanted to have it built here. And so I also want to acknowledge Clarence and Barb Niepenak, who came 2-3 weeks ago. They came and did a cleansing ceremony. So these grounds were already cleansed by elders. And then again today we've had another cleansing and smudging of the grounds. And so because we want to have this to be clear of all that negative energy, and it's to now be a place of positivity and healing. And so the building is the first of that. And then we would like to see maybe a park later on. We had talked about having some type of a memorial park for the survivors of the residential school. So eventually that's some plans that we also have, to build this area up and have some nice trees and maybe a garden to commemorate the memory of people that have passed on, but also the survivors that we still have in our community. And so we have big plans for that as it moves forward. But the first thing is to get this building going, and we have our builder here, one of our builders, and thank you for coming out and sharing this day with us. And so we're all very excited to see this first big project. Our Elders Lodge was one of our first projects, so this, I guess, is technically our second. And then later on we're going to move on to doing the other groundbreaking today, which is for our community hall, which is also very exciting and something that's very much needed in our community and will be very much utilized. And so with that, I just want to say thank you for attending this special day with us. And it's a beautiful day, so it's a nice day to have this here. And yeah, I just wish for good things going forward for this Family Resource Center and for all our projects. And I hope that it is well utilized.